Hello, this is today I'm back with another Minecraft Forge 1.8.9 modding tutorial. I probably said last week that I was going to do something else, but this week I've decided to do some more on tile entities, and I'm going to be making a tile entity which you can not store items in the way that we did before, but store items in like an inventory, so a container, you might say. So I'm just going to create a new tile entity here, so let's just call it tile entity, I don't know, just container. Sure, container, if I can spell today, Jesus Christ. And we want this to, first of all, extend brain, please work, brain. Extends tile entity for a start. The next thing we're going to need to do is actually change, not change this, but add implements inventory. So we want the this, and then we want to add the unimplemented methods, like so. There's quite a few of them. Unfortunately, I haven't set this up to do this automatically, which is kind of annoying. I need to do that at some point. I keep forgetting to do that for this workspace, because I'm an idiot. Jeez. These auto-generated things are very annoying. I'm just getting rid of them. I'm putting the braces down, because screw that, am I right? Yes, I'm right, I'm always right. Says the guy whose half of his tutorials don't actually work properly. And yeah, just continue putting all these down, get rid of that, and that is good to go. Right, so the next thing we want to do is add some variables. The private item stack inventory, also this constructor here. So we want to add just an array of for the inventory, for the items in the inventory, and a custom string for custom name of our container, and then we want this constructor which just puts getting the size of the inventory for the inventory, just for the length. We also want to get oh jeez, I forgot to put that down. We want to be able to get custom name and set custom name. So just you can generate getters and setters if you right click, or you can write them out, or you can right click, go to source and generate getters and setters, and you can choose getters and setters for these. Yeah, you don't need them for inventory, you just need them for the custom name. Next, you're going to want to change these three methods here, the get name, the has custom name, and get display name. So get name, we basically just want to get the name, basically. If that has a custom name, and then the question mark. So yeah, basically this just literally just get the name, the custom name of this tile entity here. We want to check if it has a custom name. So if the custom name is not null, and the custom name equals basically that, just this, nothing. Get display name. Again, you're going to want to also import these. It will just get the display name for it in chat. The display name for the words container. Now we have something incredibly simple, and then after that something not so simple. Getting the size of the inventory. So this is literally just how much space is in your inventory. What I'm going to go is just let's go for a basic just 9. Inventory size of 9. You can go with lots of different things, but I'm just going to stick with 9. For now, I'll show you that you can change it later. Okay, again I've just copied and pasted in this next bit because it's going to take a while if I were to go through all this. What this is, you can just copy this and it gets a stacking slot, so it just checks what is actually in. For each slot it will go through, it will check each and every item to get the item in that slot. Decrease the stack size is pretty self-explanatory. It gets it in the slot and splits it, so it's decreasing the stack size. Set inventory slot contents, so like when you put an item in, it will it will add the item to the inventory basically. And yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory again. The next thing we're going to change is the inventory stack limit, which we're going to set to 64 because that's, again, the basic one. Pretty self-explanatory. It probably should be set to 64 as default, but it's not. But yeah, the basic thing that you would normally put is 64 in this case. So next we want to change is usable by player to return this.worldobj.getTileEntity, this.getPos equal this, and player.getDistance square. I think square sounds cool. This.pos.add, and then 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 less than or equal to 64. We could just maybe we better just change this to true. I don't know. But I think this is the best way to go around this. Is item valid for slot? We want to set this to true. If you want this to just be like certain items, you can go. You can check if stack.getItem equals a certain item or one of the list of certain items, and you can then set it to true if that happens, or else return false. But we're just going to make this for everything. And the last thing we want to do with these methods here already is for the clear method, we want to loop through all of the items in the inventory and get rid of them, basically. So yeah, just for int I equals 0, I is less than this.get size inventory I++, this.set inventory contents I null. Now there's even more copying to do. We need the write to NBT and read from NBT to save to and from server. This should be pretty self-explanatory, I think. If not, like that, if you hover over some of these, they'll give you, like, tell you what they actually do. But yeah, the reason this tutorial is mainly copying and pasting is just because it's like there's quite a lot of longer things to write out. Oops. It's quite a lot of longer things to write out, and it will just take quite a while to write it all out. And basically what you're doing anyway in all the tutorials is copying out what I'm writing. The only difference is you're not seeing what I'm writing, so not really much difference, except that you're not writing at the same time. But yeah, you can pause the video and copy out all of this, and if there is anything you're confused about, then just leave a comment below and I will answer your questions if I can. And obviously we're going to have to set up a block to open this. Oh Jesus, why? Go away. To open this from. So just you should know how to do this from the earliest tutorial I did on a block. So I'm just gonna set this up. That's basically all we need. We don't really need to do anything with this. And then you want to put in, you want to override break block and on block placed by, and make sure that this again. It's pretty self-explanatory. It literally says what it's doing. You're just dropping, when you break it, it'll get the items from the inventory of the container and then drop them onto the floor. Like when you break a chest, it drops all the items on the floor. You don't have to have this if you want it, so that when you break it, it doesn't actually drop the blocks on the floor. Yeah, that's this is again pretty self-explanatory. You can set it. It would probably be helpful to set a texture for the block and stuff, but we don't really need it. And also a texture for the GUI, but we should probably check if it actually works first. Okay, so now we can test out our block. We can put a hopper on top of it and see if we can fill it with items. Oh, see if we can fill it with items. No, you're not gonna let me. Okay, maybe that won't work. But yeah, what we need to do now to make us actually able to open it and see a GUI, we need to add a GUI to our block. So what we're going to want to do first, in order to give our tile entity an actual GUI, is to create a container. We want a I've called this container because what you would normally do is say container and the name of what you want that container to be. And I've called it container. So container, and you wanted to extend container and import that, add the constructor and unimplemented methods, and a private iInventory container inventory. The parameters this takes in is iInventory player inventory and iInventory container inventory, and then you want this dot container inventory container. It doesn't look right to me anymore. God damn it. Container inventory equals container inventory dot open inventory null, and then what this does is it goes along. It adds all of the slots all this is the layout for a 9-slot inventory. I'm not entirely sure of this, like this bit myself, but I know what like this bit's doing. It's like loops through each slot and adds the slot there. I'm not sure about this bit. I originally got this by copying it from somewhere else. I've actually forgotten where I copied it from, but yeah, it's pretty much just the same. I don't know. But yeah, this is what I've been using for literally everything. I get it from every time I use it. I get it from my own mods. But yeah, and then this, you've got to do this 3 times. Well, each one's different, but yeah, you've got to do all of this. And then we want this can interact with, and we want to return container inventory dot can. No, it's is usable by player. Yeah, player in. And then yeah, if the player can actually use our container, then it will let the player interact with it. So we next want to add another 2 methods to override, which is transfer stack in slot. Take a stack from specified inventory slot and have all of this, and then on container closed, basically just when you close it. Pretty legit. And then yeah, this is just pretty self-explanatory, I guess. Put stack, help method to put slack in pair. It's self-explanatory. If you don't know, then leave a comment and I will do my best to explain it, because I cannot speak, because Jesus Christ. And now the next thing we need to add is the actual GUI for our container. I've called it GUI container TM for tutorial mod, because GUI container we need to extend from, so we can't just call it GUI container. And then what you need here is a private inventory, private static final resource location for the actual background of our container. We haven't added this yet, and I will do it next. And then we want a constructor, which will take in player inventory, container inventory, and the actual block. And then we want this to the super for this container. So this player inventory, container inventory. This dot inventory equals container inventory, and allow user input equals false. X size and Y size you can fiddle around with yourself, but 176, 168 is what you should put. And the foreground layer will just draw the, like say if when you open a chest it says inventory and chest, chest over the actual chest inventory, and inventory over your inventory, and that will just make those texts be there. And this is where you want those to go. And that's why you do that's why you should have your X size and Y size as this, because, well, actually no you don't, never mind, ignore that. And then draw the background layer, which will just bind the GUI texture, which I've done here. I'll just bind the texture of the GUI. Why am I doing this in a separate method? I don't know. There's really no point in doing that in a separate method. It's just I used to do this in a separate method and decided to do it in a separate method. Yeah, you don't need to do that there. That's for if you've got like multiple, like say types. So say if you had a container made of wood and you wanted to have different textures for oak, spruce, and all different kinds of wood, you could have it do it separately and as like a switch method and stuff. Depending on which type it is, it will change the background, the resource location it uses. Yeah, do this here, and then all of this weird stuff. Now this is the like positionings and stuff, right? That is what it is, right? Yeah, positioning X and Y. So that will just set where you actually want these to be. And yeah, that's that done. Okay, for a start, in the GUI container TM, we didn't actually need to have any instance of the block here. I'm not entirely sure why I put that there, but yeah, we don't need it at all. And we want to create a GUI handler where we actually bind the GUIs and stuff, and all this. So basically, if the tile, what this is you want to override server element and client element, and we want to make an instance of just a tile entity, and if that tile entity is tile entity container, we're going to return a new container, if it's where is it, and also cast that to a tile entity container, and otherwise on client side can return container TM, GUI container TM, and if it's not an instance of the tile entity container, it will return null. And the reason it's in an if statement is just because, say, like, or because, well, if it's not, then you want it to return null. But then, yeah, if you want to add other ones, then you can add more if statements for that. And the final thing we want to do is to, first of all, ensure that this is actually a tile entity, creating a new tile entity here. And on block activated, if not is remote, we want to just open the container, basically. And that's what this is doing. It's opening the GUI for that instance. So if tile entity instance of tile entity container. And that is that. And one final thing that I forgot is that in our init method, we want to actually register our GUI handler. So you want network registry.instance register GUI handler, register GUI handler, this new GUI handler. And now when we go into our game, if we right click on our untextured block, we get complete items in, if I can find a slot. It's not textured at the moment, and also we haven't actually set a name for the container, so we are obviously gonna, you can change the name, do that now. We can go to our close essentially, so container.tile underscore entity underscore container. Gotta hold that in my mind so I actually remember what it's called. And then go to, no, not there, tm lang in us lang container dot tile underscore entity underscore container, I think it was. Oh Jesus. Underscore entity underscore container equals no space equals container. And you can do that for whatever, tile underscore entity underscore whatever you call it. Also I'm just gonna name the actual block itself. Tile dot container dot name. Oh wait, no, it's container block dot name. Container block dot name equals container. Oops. And then we are going to add in the actual texture for our item, not our item, the background. So in order to actually get a texture for our GUI, I'll put a download link to this in the description below, but what I've got is here just a generic container image. That should actually, this should probably, yeah, the background should be just transparent, so I'll just, oh geez, I'm not using Photoshop, I need to Control Plus. No, shit, how do you make the thing bigger? Oh, you actually have to press the button. Oh wait, no, it's like that. Okay, and then just get rid of the background. So I'll put a download link to this without the background in the description below. And in case you're wondering, this program is paint.net, and you can fiddle around with this, like change colors and the layout and stuff. Oh geez, don't do that. So say like if I select all this, I can make all of this different and stuff. But yeah, you can mess about with this, change it, or make it different in however the way you want, but I'm just going to stick with this generic one here. Yep, save that. And then put it into whatever thing you've got here. So I've got it textures, GUI, container here, and after you put it in, make sure to press F5 to refresh your project. And then if you run it, it will have a texture. Okay, now we can see that we have a texture to our lovely GUI here. This still doesn't have a the proper name. I might have named it wrong. I might have needed to put .name at the end. But yeah, you can fiddle about with that and find out yourself why that's not working, because it's probably just it probably is just simply not putting .name at the end. Yeah, sorry if this tutorial is a bit like messy and shoved together weirdly, but it was a bit of a rush tutorial. But thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. So bye guys, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.